Hello, my name is Maya K. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Seeking Sister Wives Season 4, Episode 5. And the episode starts off with the Davidson family. And Jennifer and April are going out for coffee with Danielle and just have a little chat and make sure this is something Danielle really wants to do and she's really going to go forward with it. This is definitely like a big lifestyle change, but why are these measures been taken to make sure Danielle really wants to go through with the whole situation? And like I said, I get it, it's a big lifestyle change, but they make it seem like it's a lifetime commitment, and even if you want to get out, you can't get out. But anyways, when they're on the coffee date with Danielle, they talk about how in this type of relationship, communication is very important and you need to say how you feel. And in the confessional with April talks about how you grow a lot from 22 to 30 and on and on and on. And she just wants to make sure this is something Danielle really wants for herself. And as we see more episodes, I'm really starting to feel like the Davis family is really like a cult. Like you really are in a lifetime commitment and there's no leaving. There's not even thinking about leaving or doing anything else with your life other than this. I get the part, no one wants to be an experiment, figuring Danielle is only 22 and she's not 100% sure what she wants out of life yet, but you really can't expect anything less or more from her. They wouldn't be having this issue if they would go over someone in their age bracket, but someone in their age bracket would see how ridiculous this is and wouldn't fall for it. They get somebody like Danielle who's young and naive and maybe groom isn't the right word, but they can train her into how they want her to be and her follow certain directions in life that anyone who's experienced in life wouldn't do this. And it's also okay and to outgrow relationships. Every relationship is not meant to last forever. It doesn't mean that you have to end up on bad terms or there be any major problem or have bad blood. Y'all are just two different spots in y'all's lives and y'all are going to different places, and keeping that relationship just isn't gonna work for y'all anymore. But it seems like when you get into this lifestyle, you do, and you have to stay the same mindset and really can't grow as a person, because anytime someone grows as a person, there's always going to be friction because there's so many people you have to get along with. Going back to the scene, Danielle asks how do they feel secure and feel worthy in this type of relationship and how does it work. They kept saying jealousy is a natural thing and it may happen, but there's no anarchy in this type of relationship that they have. They're all on the same level and Nick will love them just as much as he loves the other one, which that's obviously not true. It's on the anarchy part, because Nick is obviously the king. Y'all go out and work with him, bring her into how they want her to be, and her follow certain directions in life that anyone who's experienced in life wouldn't do this. And it's also okay and to outgrow relationships. Every relationship is not meant to last forever. It doesn't mean that you have to end up on bad terms or there be any major problem or have bad blood. Y'all are just two different spots in y'all's lives and y'all are going to different places, and keeping that relationship just isn't gonna work for y'all anymore. But it seems like when you get into this lifestyle, you do, and you have to stay the same mindset and really can't grow as a person, because anytime someone grows as a person, there's always going to be friction because there's so many people you have to get along with. Going back to the scene, Danielle asks how do they feel secure and feel worthy in this type of relationship and how does it work. They kept saying jealousy is a natural thing and it may happen, but there's no anarchy in this type of relationship that they have. They're all on the same level and Nick will love them just as much as he loves the other one, which that's obviously not true. It's on the anarchy part, because Nick is obviously the king. Y'all go out and work with him, bring him money, and he spends it on going dates with other women and finding y'all a new sister wife to be friends with. Plus, Nick can do whatever he wants, but April and Jennifer cannot do anything that they want. They have to follow Nick's directions. Just go along for the hell of it. That's just what I see, and I guess they know their relationship better than I do. Then Jennifer and April ask Danielle, does she want kids? And Danielle says yes, she does want kids. And April wants a really big family. She wants more sister wives and more children. She's even thinking about having another child herself, but they're still talking about it. Then Jennifer asks Danielle how does she feel about sleeping in the same bed with all of them. And with Danielle, there would be 4 people sleeping in one bed, and Danielle says that she's okay with it and there's no issue there. But with Danielle in the bed as well, there'll be 4 people sleeping in one bed. They're talking about wanting more sister wives, so there's gonna be like a minimum 2 beds, and they're gonna have to be like king or queen size, or queen full or king full. I just don't think I could do that. That's just weird to me, because like they probably all have sex in that bed, and I don't think I could sleep comfortably knowing that my sister wife and my husband had sex 30 minutes before I came and laid down. It would just ultimately gross me out. And like, I know they're not changing the sheets after every time Nick has sex with a different wife. I know they're not. They can't be. It's their life, not mine. But Danielle is worried about she won't be able to grow and develop in a situation like this, because they make it seem like a lifetime commitment. Kids, tattoos, and stuff like that are lifetime commitments, but not a relationship. A relationship is only a commitment until one partner dies or they both decide they no longer want to do this. I have no idea why they make it seem like that, but in my opinion, Danielle is just avoiding the red flags left and right. She really needs to run for the hills, but she won't, because she thinks this is some amazing relationship, but little does she know, I feel like this is gonna go downhill. I'm not saying all polygamous relationships will go downhill, but the type of polygamous relationship that Nick and Jennifer and April have will go downhill if one person decides to open their eyes to what's really going on around them. And next, move on to Brenda and Steve. Brenda and Steve are in Dallas to see Steve's kids and also to get a breakaway from April after the terrible dinner night. Get introduced to Steve's kids. Steve has a son who is 18 and his name is Preston. Steve has a daughter named Jaden who is 16. Their kids are not aware that they're actively looking for a sister wife and entertaining a sister wife. Steve doesn't see his kids a lot because of his working schedule and having to oversee the house that they're building, so everyone has to make the best out of the time that they have together. But his daughter Jaden isn't really a big fan of family time, rather be doing something else. She says that Brenda's nice, she guess, but you kind of just get used to any step parent that's around for long periods of time, which that tells me that she really doesn't like the family dynamic that they have. I'm not sure that's whether because they're into polygamy or just who Steve and Brenda are as people. I'm going to an in-person confessional with Preston. He says that he really didn't know what's going on when Brenda came into the picture and they started doing the whole polygamy stuff because he was only 10, but he saw that his mother was really unhappy. And Jaden was only 8, so she really didn't know what's going on either. And Steve says that the first wife left the relationship because of negative influence that was around her. I refuse to believe that. I think there's a much deeper issue behind why the first wife left the relationship. And I think it has something to do with Steve and maybe Brenda, and Steve doesn't want to air out his dirty laundry. But Steve says that negative influence still have an impact on his daughter Jaden, but not his son Preston, because Preston just wants his dad to be happy. Jade, on the other hand, I believe she thinks the lifestyle is disgusting, which she does end up talking about later on in the episode. To be completely honest, I think there's a way deeper issue behind why the first wife left the relationship and the so-called negative influences. I think there's a much deeper reasoning behind that, but Steve just doesn't want to say because it makes him look bad. And Steve goes on to talk about how the kids used to even call Brenda mom, but obviously when him and his first wife got divorced, that was no longer okay. Things just started to change. I think the kids became aware. Maybe as they got older, they could start to fully understand the situation. Maybe their feelings just changed on the whole situation. People in my life who I thought were superheroes were the most amazing people in the world, but as I got older and became self-aware and aware what was going on around me, I realized that these people just aren't that good. And maybe that's happened with Steve's kids, specifically his daughter Jaden, and her opinions just have differed from when she was younger. And I hope your opinions would change from 8 to 16. Next, we move on to Marcus, Taryn, and India. It is India's 30th birthday party. And India just wants to relax and have a good time and stir away from the drama that she has with Marcus about the whole sex situation. And her sister Chastity surprises her for her 30th birthday. She had told India that she wouldn't be able to make it, but she came to surprise her, and India was very happy about it. In the impersonal confessional with Chastity, Chastity talks about how she would never personally do a polygamous relationship, but she could see how it works for India and her family. She also talks about how she thought India was in a polygamous relationship because she didn't know her worth, but as she became around them, she realized this is what made her sister happy. And while they're getting ready for the party, Chastity asks about how the dating process is going for them. And they tell her it's going good, but then Chastity asks a question about will it change the dynamic they already have. But India ends up saying that she doesn't feel threatened by Bina or feels insecure in her spot. But her sister is afraid the dynamic will change and affect them, since India will be kind of like the new person because they've known Bina, Taryn, and Marcus for 13 years. So if she decides to join the relationship, she'll be the one who has known Marcus for the least amount of time. Chastity also says it's kind of like an anarchy. They just do whatever Marcus directs them to do. And that's how a lot of these relationships goes. I believe a lot of these women are looking for direction and not necessarily a partner. But that's just my opinion. Everyone is excited for India's birthday party and just wants to have a good time. Next, we move on to Tasha and Sidion. And Tasha is helping Sidion pack for his trip to the Philippines to meet Ariel for the first time. And Tasha asks Sidion, did he pack condoms? And he says yes. He says that he has plans on having sex with Ariel, which Tasha is comfortable with. Which I don't know how long Sidion is gonna be there, but I think it's like a month or something. But I'm curious to know, when does he expect Ariel to want to have sex with? I don't know, it's just a thought of mine because just like with the Marcus situation, after the first date he wanted to have sex with Bina. Don't know if Sidion operates the same way or a little different. I'm curious to know though. But anyways, it's bittersweet for both of them because they're excited to start a new chapter in their life with Ariel, but it's sad seeing him leave since she won't see him for a little bit. Sidion is worried that it may not work out, but it's kind of now or never since Ariel may lose interest, so they really just want to meet each other in person so they can see if there's chemistry before someone gets disinterested in their relationship. Let's move on to the Davis family, and they're getting ready to go on a staycation with Danielle, and it'll be like the first weekend where they've spent long periods of time together more than just one night. And they would just stay at their house, but their house is pretty small at the moment, so there wouldn't be any real room for Danielle. And Nick says that he's in love with Danielle, even though he literally just went on his first solo date with her, literally not that long ago. Not sure how he would know he's in love, but okay, Nick. And when they go and pick Danielle up, when she starts getting in the car, she starts talking a lot because of her anxiety. And when she has a lot of anxiety about something, she just talks a lot and say how she feels. She basically just ends up talking about how her siblings are like 900 miles away, so she really doesn't get to spend like family time with them. It's really nice going on this trip. During the whole thing, April just looks so over it and wish Danielle would just be quiet. But they finally get there, and the sleeping arrangement is that for the first night it's gonna be Nick and Jennifer, and for the second night it's gonna be Danielle and Nick. April says she's had plenty of nights alone with Nick, so she wants to give other people the opportunity to have alone time with Nick. While Jennifer and Nick are upstairs by themselves, they're like just touching on each other and being affectionate, and Nick ends up saying, I love you, little girl. I nearly threw up in my mouth by that. Like, I'd rather bang my head against a metal wall or something. Like, that just really grossed me out because she's a grown woman. I don't know, that was just really weird. Next, move on to India, Taryn, and Marcus, and it's India's 30th birthday party, and all her friends and family are there. Marcus's sister is there as well. They start to talk about how they want to add a third wife, and Marcus's sister is a little apprehensive about it just because they have such a good dynamic already. She doesn't want anything to mess it up or make things complicated, but she's open to the idea. But India's sister Chastity, on the other hand, is not so happy about it. She already had to embrace the situation, and now she's gonna have to embrace another person. She says she'll always be in India's corner, rather she agrees or disagrees with her decision because that's her sister. And overall, everyone is happy for them. Then they go outside to have more conversations while Marcus grills and cooks the food. And one of Taryn and India's friends starts to talk about how she at first did not like India because she had thought she had came and ruined Marcus's and Taryn's relationship. As time went on, she came to love her and accept her. Then India talks about how when her and Marcus started dating, Marcus had came to her as a single person. Even though he really wasn't single, they were just going through a separation, but they were still technically together. It's not India's fault, that's Marcus's fault. But it is still a little weird, even after she had found out about Tara, she still wanted to be in a relationship with Marcus. But we're not going to dwell on that since that's the past and we really aren't aware of the full situation in detail. They all just want to move on and grow from it and have a good time. Lastly, move on to the good part, Brenda and Steve, and they're at home having dinner with their kids, Preston and Jaden. Steve has with his ex-wife, and they're cooking chicken noodle soup. Jaden is kind of just like out of touch and on her phone. Steve says Jaden can be pretty moody at times, and she knows what buttons to press to get Steve upset or irritated and get what she wants. I don't think it's that. I just think she thinks this is ridiculous and that's why she's moody. I mean, I would too if I had to deal with someone like Steve all my life. As they finally cook dinner, they sit down and Steve tells them about how they're adding a third wife. Person is okay with it if it makes his dad happy. Jaden, on the other hand, thinks it's disgusting. She feels like it shouldn't be an option for Steve since he has kids, and once you have kids, you don't have certain options or certain choices because stuff will affect your kids. It's not a good decision. It also brings up how what if Brenda wants another husband or another boyfriend. Steve gets extremely uncomfortable because it's really just about Steve wanting to have sex. This is what a lot of relationships are about when it comes to polygamy. Not all, because I know not all relationships are like this, but this specific one is like this. At the end of the day, she was 100% right because it's weird and odd and you should think about other people before you make decisions like this, especially getting on TV dating a 21-year-old who's not that much older than your two children. Like, she's literally 3 years older than your oldest son. Like, does that not bother you or gross you out to some extent? I guess not, because Steve is weird. But she honestly summed it up in the best way possible and was saying what we all were thinking. And now Steve and Brenda are stressed out about it and they don't know what to do. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. I give it a good 7 out of 10. It gave what it was supposed to give, especially with Jaden digging into these BS and all this weird stuff that he has going on in his life. So that really just made it like a good episode in my opinion. Yeah, tell me what you think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe if you want, and bye.